Hello traders, good evening. What a trendy week it has been. Only the unfortunate part is that the trend has been on the downside rather than being on the upside. Well, anyways, that's how markets are. So let's start today's video. Let's understand what's happening in the weekly time frame chart first. 3 consecutive weeks first where we saw bullish impetus in the market. Number 1, 2 and 3, nice candles. Number 3, outsized candle which is of the red color. Now I think in the midweek, in this last ongoing week, probably when prices were around 25,000 or probably just below that time I think the size of the candle was pretty much manageable. In case if Nifty had bounced back from here and gone upwards, it would have been a pretty healthy pullback. Now, if you remember in my previous weekly sectoral analysis, which I shared with all of you on the Saturday, I clearly told that the pullback, the stronger markets are the ones which do pull back, but they pull back lesser. They'll pull back probably 23.6%, probably 38%, and then probably start going on the upside. This pullback is much, much deeper. This pullback is probably near 50%, near 61.8%. No, it is close to 78.6%. And the main feature of this particular pullback is that the selling is getting aggravated day by day. If you see the size of the candles, initially they were smaller, and then suddenly in the last 2 days, the size of the candles have increased. So this is incremental trend on the downside and incremental momentum on the downside. All right. Weekly time frame chart was much better, probably in the midweek, as I said just few minutes back, but now I think I have few questions about the weekly time frame chart. There is no momentum. I think we are a bit off in the sideways move in the Nifty weekly time frame chart. And to be very frank, this is not a very easy market to trade. If you're a long only trader, what should you do? Probably as a long only trader, you will have to understand and identify which are the sectors which will probably give you that chance to go long, number one. Second thing is you will have to understand that the selling which is ongoing in the last 5 to 6 trading session has to slow down first and not just, keep on plotting supports and trend lines. Yes, I have also plotted a trend line over here. But we need to understand that the trend line will be working only if we start seeing smaller candles over here, lack of momentum, and then slowly and steadily the price starts rising on the upside. If this does not happen, what is the meaning of this trend line? So generally what happens is, my friends, when markets are falling, we, continuously start finding newer and newer supports. That is fine. That's a human nature. But we need to understand that these supports will be useful only if price stops falling, volatility decreases, and then if we take a U-turn. Otherwise, these supports are of no use to us. So probably as a trader, I think we should wait for the next week to give us somewhat of direction that are we going to bounce from here or are we going to continue going on the downside. I think a bit more clarity is required now because we need to understand one more thing. In the last probably few months, just understand what has happened over here. Sell off, a pullback, quick pullback with a gap up. Suddenly we retrace, suddenly we rise again. This time we also give a breakout. And over here, I think every trader would have been, with a sense of bullishness in his mind that shayad ab kuch acha hoga market mein. When that starts happening, suddenly we drop. So it's hell of a roller coaster ride in the last few months in the markets. It's not an easy time to make money. Keep your eyes open, be vigilant, and wait probably for the next week to understand what's going to happen. And also, don't just look at Nifty. Be very, very vigilant about what is happening in the different sectoral indices. That is very important in the current market if you want to understand. Like say for example, if you look at Bank Nifty, if you compare with Nifty, it's not that stronger because Nifty did try to surpass the previous high over here. Bank Nifty, on the contrary, with the help of private banks, because private banks have fallen more in comparison to the PSU banks, it could not even surpass the previous high. It started falling. Now it is at a support. Okay, this is the weekly time frame chart. We had 3 candles on the upside, but sudden drop, just like the Nifty. So I think weekly time frame chart, probably even the displacement of the moving averages is positive, but still I don't like this chart a lot, to be very frank. In the daily time frame chart, if you see, we have a classical lower high in place, okay, but we do not have a lower low so far. But what I can say is that we are at a support which is at 52,326 to 54,200. So if we start trading below 54,200, start sustaining below it maybe for a day or two, then I think Bank Nifty can get a bit more weaker. Talking about private banks, I think that private banks are the culprits over here, because the reason is, again, if you see, we tried very hard. Private banks tried very hard to pull back. Initially they were successful. I'm not saying no. But if you see properly, they were not able to surpass this gap, which was very important. And they started seeing a sell-off. So I think private banks are looking weak, especially the top 3 banks. They in terms of weightage in private banking space, they are much weaker. And even the weekly time frame charts as of now is not that great. Somewhere over here, I think things were looking better. You can see a nice pattern erupting in RSI. You can see that prices were firm. It was hopeful. I was hopeful that something nice could happen out of private banks, but markets have their own mind and things did not work out. Anyways, if you go to the PSU banking pack, as I have been clearly saying that they have been the outperformers, and that is why they did not break this support. They also gave a breakout. They trended higher. And now I think after a pretty nice stupendous short-term momentum rally, they're trying to consolidate. Some sort of profit booking is going on. And as a short-term trader, to be very frank, you should be very brutal. You should be very honest to yourself as a trader if you are making money on the long side in the PSU banking space or any other sector. You should be probably, aggressively trailing your stop losses. So in case if your stops are hit, you'll book partial profits or complete profits and then get out of the market. All right. The weekly time frame chart over here seems absolutely fine. It's bullish. The momentum is up. Even in the daily time frame chart, the trend is up. Momentum is slightly weakening because in the last 3 days prices have come down. So some sort of profit booking or consolidation cannot be denied, but otherwise overall, so far it looks good. Energy pack. Energy pack is one of the sectors which was started looking impressive last week. It was not amazing, it was not great, but out of nowhere, out of like this first candle not that great, second candle okay, suddenly third candle was great. Even the price, the way it had rallied, it started looking a bit more convincing, and suddenly when that happened, what we have? A vertical fall on the downside. So I think as of now I have no views on the energy pack, because if you look, I will not be able to talk about the stocks, but if you look at the weightage of the stocks and you see properly, it's not going to be very easy to determine which particular trade you should take. I mean, you should go for the bullish bias or the bearish bias. And when that happens, it is best to avoid that sector and its constituents for trading. Going ahead with the auto pack, I think in auto pack, no such ambiguity is there. The trend is pretty much up. The momentum is up. RSI did hit above 70 in the weekly time frame chart. pretty good distance between the price and the moving averages over here. So it was clearly visible that it did require some sort of profit booking consolidation. Even over here, we have a negative divergence between the price and the RSI. You can see very clearly, and that is the reason you can see prices have corrected on the downside, and it is pretty much healthy. So as a trader, as a long only trader, will I jump in auto pack now since it has come down? My answer is no. I would like to wait a bit more and then probably start nibbling in these stocks of the auto pack. But as of now, I would wait at the sidelines. Consumer durables. Consumer durables, I think one of the sectors which probably could have outperformed the way it went up because it made a higher low. This is the first low. This is the second low, which is higher than the previous one. Also made a higher high, and then suddenly the way it is falling, it is really, really bad. I mean, the momentum is extremely high. See the way RSI has fallen on the downside. Extremely high momentum. Size of the candle is increasing. Weekly time frame chart, if you just take away this candle from the entire chart, I would say the weekly time frame chart is still okay, but I think I will be very, very careful if I want to initiate any long only trade in this sector. I'll be a bit more watchful. And I think the main heavyweight stocks have been responsible for this fall in this sector. Consumption pack almost similar to consumer durables, but a bit better, I should say. Strong momentum in the weekly time frame chart on the upside. Strong correction also this week. If this sector wants to remain as an outperformer, what we need to see over here is at least the sell-off should start getting, slow and slow and slow, and then suddenly we should see price started consolidating and then move up. Or else the sector which was outperforming, it will also start underperforming with other sectors in the market. Finance pack. Finance, I should say, it tried really hard, pretty nicely. It also bounced from the 38.20% Fibonacci retracement. But if you look at this candle properly, and if you look at this candle properly, you will understand that there is probably some sort of selling pressure evident at the higher levels. And I guess that has been the case over here as well. And then suddenly after a candle with an upper wick, suddenly we have a pretty big red candle. Not a good sign. Even over here we can see the sell-off, the way it has happened, not a good sign. Only thing is that we have retraced till 78.6. 61.8, not lower. If we start trading below probably 25,730 or 25,740, then things will get a bit more ugly for the finance pack. All right. FMCG, I think things were improving the way few stocks were performing, and this was the particular, you can say, Lakshman Rekha rakha tha maine, that if this particular levels are surpassed, then things will change. But so far it seems nothing great has happened. In fact, the stocks which were responsible to take this sector higher, they outperform very badly, and now it is showing signs of weakness. Immediate supports, I think it will be within this zone, probably around 54,100 and 54,500. These are the immediate supports. All right. Okay. IT pack, finally, you can say that it broke its previous support. Before going there, first let's talk about the daily time frame chart. Sell-off, a pullback, sell-off, sudden sharp rise seems pretty promising, probably trying to give a breakout, a throwback, and then it could have rallied on the upside, but then at the same point of time, we all know something unfortunate happened. Some announcement came from the US, and that probably led to the carnage of these stocks and the way they have fallen. But one important thing, information to take away from here, that 61.80% Fibonacci retracement has been broken, and now we can say that yes, IT pack is now in a strong downtrend with momentum on the downside, and probably next time if we get a pullback, probably we'll be able to take a bit more informed decision if you are a derivatives trader. Metal pack. Metal pack, I don't think so there is any ambiguity over here. Pretty strong uptrend, strong momentum also. RSI looking pretty terrific. But the way it has rallied, it has been a one-way rally, and yes, some profit booking, some consolidation cannot be denied. So as a trader, if anyone is holding long positions in the metal pack, it would be better to book out or probably even trail your stop losses pretty aggressively. And then if you get an exit, then wait at the sidelines. Is this the right time to re-enter in the metal pack? Probably I would like to wait a bit more and not just wait for the metal pack to, settle down, but even the overall markets to settle down a bit. Infra, pretty mixed bag, I should say, because I can see that it has been able to bounce back from 38.2% retracement, strong candles, again a weaker candle, a higher high over here. Still the lower high has not been broken. The pullback over here is deep. It's not very deep, but it is deep. So I would like to take some time off. I would like to have my own good time to, take a decision on this particular sector, because as a trader, I always like to take my own comfortable time. I don't want to hurry things. We also have a candlestick cluster over here, right? So it's pointless when you're not sure about a particular sector to call it a bearish or a bullish or, give your view. Just wait at the sidelines, let some clarity kick in, and then probably it's good time to talk about it. Okay. Pharma, well, again, thanks to US, what should I say? The way it was performing, things were looking pretty bright, things were looking pretty nice, but then suddenly today's announcement took all the highlight away, and then we had a sudden gap down. Yes, some sort of buying has happened on the downside over here. Some pullback has happened probably on Monday. It could be possible that prices could, try to close this gap or at least close it partially, if not completely. But as a trader, it's not going to be easy to trade pharma pack in the next week. So we'll have to wait a bit, and rather than taking hasty decisions. If the way it was moving up, it would be easier. But when the first change happens, when the first move happens on the downside, generally it's not easy. Then if it gives a pullback, then starts trending down as a derivatives trader, then it's an easy call. But when the first U-turn happens, generally it is better to wait out, wait for a better confirmation, and then re-enter as a trader. PSE sector also, I should say, the weekly chart is terrific. Yes, we do have a red candle, but it's also that it's not looking very, very weak despite that red candle. Daily chart is looking fine. Strong uptrend, decent retracement, and I think the pullback also, if you just try to remove all these drawings, and now if you try to plot the fib over here, we have been able to retrace just by 38%, 38.20%. So it is a sector which has retraced a little bit lesser in comparison to others, which is a good sign. So if at all market settles down, the selling slows down, does that point of time, does the PSE sector starts moving up? That is all we'll have to see. Okay. Realty pack coming back in its true color. It's tried to break the shackles above this high. It tried, wasn't successful. But although it is trying to move down, and probably on Monday or Tuesday we'll understand. If we close below this low, then I think the downtrend will start again. We had a first move on the downside, probably a consolidation, and then probably Monday or Tuesday we'll be able to understand. Okay. Defense as a sector was probably one of the very strong sectors, not because it is one of the sectors which everyone is talking about, but the momentum in this sector was terrific. It was amazing. It was really truly amazing. And to see this sort of sector retracing pretty harshly, it's not a good thing. But still, I should say that it hasn't retraced completely like 100% or 78.6%. Probably it will be close to 38 or 50%, probably in the zone of 38 if I'm not wrong. It's just below 38, yeah, and not at 50 and not at 38, just below 38. It's okay, nothing wrong in that. Now from here what happens, that is what we'll have to see in the next week. So this week things were not very easy for this sector as well. Mid caps, very bad beating, very bad beating. You can see like prices moving down, up, suddenly down, suddenly up, suddenly down. Not a very good time for traders, for directional traders. And not just the prices have come down, the prices have come down with extensive momentum and extremely high volatility also. The size of the candles are increasing a lot. See the way RSI is falling. It's terrific. So it's a time probably to be very brutal in your risk management, in your profit booking ways, because if you see the way markets moved up, it moved up very slowly with smaller candles. But when they came down, a lot of fear was visible and you can see a lot of big red candles and urgency to go on the downside. So as a trader, not just the direction and the trade should be right, but your risk management should be proper, and your exit, not just in the stop loss, but also even if you're getting a profit from a trade, you have to exit as fast as possible to lock in the profits. So I think summing it up all, as I'm saying, I'm repeating once again, not a very easy market for directional traders to trade. And next week will be a week, rather than hoping for a bounce back, I do understand that after such a fall, everyone does expect a pullback from the market, that 100, 200 points to 200 points, 250 points, it might pull back. But well, my friends, ask yourself, is it going to change your trading portfolio? Is it going to help you a lot? So rather than talking about, okay, यहाँ से 150-200 point ऊपर जाएगा, 300 point ऊपर जाएगा, and all that talks, fine, it's okay, you can do it. But how is it going to help you? Rather than that, as a trader, what I'll be doing is, I'll be keeping my eyes open and I will try to find out, is the selling slowing down? If the selling starts slowing down, the first thing to happen is the size of the candles will get smaller and smaller over here in the candlestick chart. Once that happens, you have to continuously maintain that we don't break this level. And then if we start moving on the upside, maybe we have a chance. If not, then we'll break on the downside. So this is what we need to understand. So first, getting clarity, because what happened was really amazing. Up, down, and it should have bounced back. But rather than that, bang, sudden move on the downside, very fast. So market में ऐसा कुछ हुआ है, which something which we were not expecting as traders. So it's important to keep our eyes open, be vigilant, give some time to the market to make us understand where it wants to go. All right. So I hope these videos are helping you in your analysis also to understand how markets will move. Please let me know with your comments in the YouTube section. Trade less, trade wisely. Thank you.